See this? What's going on, guys? I'm Dylan here. We're gonna be doing a review on my 1999 Mustang Cobra. Cobras came with a 4.6 DOAC motor, dual overhead cam, of course, and things like that. Cobras also came with a IRS suspension, so you know, pretty good stuff. They're pretty good for tracks, more or less. Here's Instagram if you want to follow it, at Lazy4Valve. Let's go into what's done to the car. Yes, it does not have the 99 to 01 Cobra bumper. I actually did switch out with my buddy Aim. He was able to find me a this is an OEM 0304 Terminator bumper. Mine needed a bumper tab fix, of course, and things like that. Like, it was on this side. I wanted this bumper because of other different reasons. It looks good. I know everybody goes with it. Literally everybody goes with it, even on the GTs, 2 valves, freaking even the people with V6s. Nothing against the 2 valves and the V6s. Just everybody goes with this kind of bumper. It kind of opens it up on the front end, of course, and things like that. So moving on. Yes, it is not in the most perfect condition. I bought it like this. I bought the car for $4,000. The dude had it listed for $8,000, and nobody was wanting to buy it. So I was like, he kept on dropping the price on it. So I was like, man. At first he wanted like $6,000. He kept dropping it. He wanted $5,000, and that was the lowest he would go. And then I was like, let me offer this dude $4,000, and let's see if he likes it. Let's see if he wants to, you know, make a deal on $4,000. Let's see if he'll end up taking the money. So I ended up contacting him. I contacted him. I was like, hey man, look, I got $4,000 cash. I said, I can bring you cash right now, you know, and everything like that. And he was like, yeah man, sure, why not? So for $4,000, and you know, I went and looked at it. I mean, I didn't think $4,000 was bad because, one, the paint was horrible. Two, didn't have the stock ambers, which kind of bummed me out. I'm in the market for ambers, if anybody knows anybody. It does have the 0304 Terminator rear bumper also. Not in the most perfect condition. Like I said, the car is going to be going actually into the paint shop here in a couple weeks to get a full repaint. I'm talking to fix like all the issues and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it has one issue right there. Big old issue right there. Pretty big old dent. Yes, that is to me, that's a pretty big dent. They kind of bummed my heart. But also I have the 0304 Cobra side skirts and the trunk and wing and the hood also. So I'll be installing the hood, the trunk with spoiler, and the side skirts I'm not going to do. I'm going to get the shop to do that because I think everybody knows that people fuck up the pinch welds on these, like, pretty bad. That bad. And I'm just going to get the body shop to do that, to fix all that, because that's more work than I need to. And if the shop said they would do it, you know, kind of lend me a hand to do it, hey, by all means, let them do it. So, let me give you a basic rundown on the motor. Let me pop this. It has a gutted interior at the moment. Alright, so, like I said, this is a 4.6 DOAC motor, the overhead cam, and all that kind of good razzle-dazzle stuff. It's got, when I first bought the car, I ended up racing a Dodge RT. It was a pretty good race. I did beat him. It was a pretty good run. There's nothing against the dude, stuff like that, but we ended up running. I did beat him. We were doing a roll race. I think we were doing like 40 roll, and went from there. That night, I kind of blew the bypass hose right here. This bypass hose right there. It goes all the way to the thermostat and everything. I blew that hose that night, and I was pretty pissed. But hey, stuff happens, and things like that. We ended up racing. That happened, and then I tried using some tape, some electrical tape, to see if it would work. You know, try to get me back to the house. Sadly, it did not. We ended up, me, Corey, and Gina were on the side of the road. She was in the car, and we were racing. And we ended up doing that and stuff like that. And as soon as it popped, I was like, "Oh my god!" So my buddy that was behind me in his Mustang GT was Caleb. And after my freaking bypass hose blew, all the coolant went on his car. Like, I'm talking all the coolant drained out of the radiator, out of the coolant tank, every little thing, every little drop to that, it all just came out. And he was like, "Man, what happened?" I said, "I think I blew a bypass hose." Well, unfortunate, I did blow the bypass hose. And my buddy Doug, he tried helping me out as much as he could that night. Sadly, I did have to leave it on the side of the road on I-10 westbound, between Sulphur and Vinton. If you live in Louisiana, you know where that's at. I did have to leave it on the side of the road. The next morning, got a new bypass hose and replaced it. I didn't replace it with the OEM one. I just replaced it with the one I could just find at the auto parts store. At that time, I was working at O'Reilly's. Well, after that happened, I drove it for a little while. Maybe I drove it for like 3 weeks, and it just kept on blowing white smoke out. And every time it'd start up, it'd blow white smoke and things like that. Well, I kept on losing coolant. My coolant, low coolant, kept on coming on my dash. I was like, man, I know I got coolant, and sadly enough, I had no coolant in the reservoir. This little thing right here, I didn't have any in there. I kind of figured, I was like, man, I think I blew the head gasket. So I ended up doing a block test, and sure enough, as soon as I started it, carbon was came into the little block test. If you know what it is, if you know what it is, it's looks like a little, I guess you can call it a nipple that you put it inside the cap or the reservoir, and you put it right here with some dye in it, and as soon as you start it, carbon will come up through there, and it'll turn to a different color. In this case, it's going to turn blue if you have carbon going past through the radiator into the through the engine. So it turned blue. That's how we knew we blew the head gasket. I brought it to the shop. They did the block test. Sure enough, I did blow it. So I was talking to the shop and everything like that. We were talking, and we were like, it's going to cost you a lot. I was like, I kind of figured that. I said, yeah, you're going to have to drop the motor and all that, and change the head, change the head gasket and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, dude, let's go all out on top end. I said, let's order the 0304 heads with the head coolant mod on the back of the heads. Let's stud the top of the block with the ARP head studs and every little knick-knack thing. I paid close, damn near $4,000 for the whole setup. It was, I can't remember. I got the receipt, but I spent damn near almost that much to get the heads redone. It's got the, like I said, the 0304 heads. It's got the cams. It's got the retainers. It's got the springs. It's got everything off of a 0304 Terminator. That happened. I spent all of that. I've been driving it for about 1.5 years now. Ever since that happened, it was pretty fun. I blew the head gasket. You got to spend money to play. So it's got a JLT intake, cold air intake in it, and stuff like that. It's got a 93 octane tune, old catch can. It was mounted right here for the on the passenger side, but I ended up selling it because I wasn't building any crankcase pressure at all. So every time I go change the oil, I change my oil every 35, 100 miles. I'm sure everybody does that. If not, hey, kudos to you. I ended up selling it because of oil not actually getting past the intake. It was not even making, you know, it wasn't even pulling oil inside the catch can. So I was like, man, there's no need for this right now. I said, I'm not boosted, I'm not anything, I'm not spraying nitrous, you know, I'm not doing any of that. So I sold it to a local buddy of mine for $100. It was a JLT intake 3.0 version. I kind of just sold it, get rid of it. My buddy he has a 4-wheel drive Roush F-150 newer model, and that motherfucker pulls. I'm talking, it is bad. And he needed a catch can, so I was like, hey man, I was like, look, I'm selling one. And he was like, yeah. I was like, I just want $100, and you know, we made a deal on that and stuff like that. So far, I had to do all the maintenance on it. I have had to change the water pump, the tensioner, the idler, and things like that. So it wasn't that bad. The idler actually fell off. This one right here, actually I was driving and it freaking just shot off, and it went ding, 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 and then went down the road and on its little merry way. A little rundown on the front suspension. Front suspension, I did have a AGE tubular K-member on it. This time I actually went with Team Z tubular K-member, only because AGE, I don't like their I don't like the way they made their tubular K-member. Nothing against AGE, totally nothing against them at all. It was just the space I was requiring, and the steering shaft not clearing, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I ended up going with Team Z tubular K-member with A-arms, and then I went with SVE caster camber plates. Those are brand new. I'm talking, this is like a week old. I went with the SVE bump steer kit, and I went with those, and then I went with a Viking double adjustable shocks. I don't know if you could see it or not, but I did go with those. Probably the best investment for me. Got a lot of stuff on it. I did spend, you know, Viking, if anybody knows in the game, Viking's the best. I'm talking, I love Viking. I love the way they're made. I love their quality of their, you know, their shocks and everything like that. I went with the double adjustable shocks with the compression and rebound on there, and I went with those to match up with the Team Z. The old shocks that I had, they were just beat up. I did have a previous coilover kit on it. It's just the shocks were worn out. Everything was just, I don't know, it was just bad for me, bad for the car, and things like that. But as far as that goes, for the motor and everything, that is pretty much it. Like I said, I got the heads, I got it studded, I got the 0304 Terminator heads, I've got, I think it was $250 for the head cooling mod for MMR. That's who I got it from, and things like that. So as far as the interior goes, it is, right now, it's all taken apart. I took out the passenger seat, and I took out the trunk, rear seat, just because I am going with a rear seat delete kit. That's just me. I don't have anybody riding the back with me at all. I just don't. Nobody ever rides in the car with me. It does have the it does have a T56 swap. So for the people that know, T56 came out of the 0304 Terminators, and I paired it with the MGW short thread shifter with the race shifter. You know, they go for like 25 to, I've seen $25,000 to $3,000 for the swaps. You know, for the transmissions to be sold and everything like that. And it actually, I bought it with the car. I was pretty surprised that it came with that. The dude told me, I thought he was joking, but no, he ended up, you know, selling it with a T56 in it, and it has the N-Gauge. The only reason why I use N-Gauge, I know it can't data log any of that. I just use it for temperatures, like or like fuel pressure. So like fuel pressure, temperature, RPMs, spark for the spark plug. Like that. That's the only reason I use that for. yes, I know it can't tune the PCM. It can only tune the newer Mustangs. Totally understand that. And things like that. Now for a basic rundown on the rear end. Like I said, you know, these 99 to 01 Cobras and the 0304s, they came with a IRS suspension, independent rear suspension. Everyone knows. Me personally, I love the IRS only because of the ride quality. Yes, the bushings are pretty shitty on these cars. On any of the Cobras that have the IRS, they're pretty shitty. They're not the best. So I think they're not going out on me, but I think it's almost time to go. And I think, you know, I'm thinking about going with some FTBR bushings and all that kind of stuff. I do have the Viking shocks on the rear also. Like I said, I'm a firm believer on the shocks for Viking. I'm a firm believer on that, and I love their products. I do, and I will always stick with them and stuff. So it does have a here I ended up blowing the actual diff. I'll throw some pictures on the screen for y'all. I blew the diff in half, literally. I'm talking like I blew it in half, meaning I was messing around, and I was playing around, and I shouldn't have done it. About 3 days after, brought it to a shop. I had it towed over there. I didn't drive it. If y'all were gonna ask, I totally did not drive it. I drove it home, and that was it. I brought it to the shop. I towed it to the shop, Hurricane Off-Road, actually, in Lake Charles. I brought it to them. They further inspected it, and they were like, it looks like, you know, just the spider gears are broken. I was like, okay. I said, that sounds fair. I said, you know, let's talk. I said, how much would it cost me to put an actual built diff, not the whole rear end, just the diff, not the actual, you know, the axles, none of that, just the diff is I wanted to do. I said, well, how will we go about putting, you know, 355s with a 31 spline axle with a stronger diff? He's like, yeah, man, we can do that, you know. And so we were talking, and he was like, yeah, dude, we can definitely do that. So I actually ordered the Detroit TrueTrack 31 spline differential with 0304 31 spline axles. Yes, they're beefier rather than the 28 spline on these 99 to 01s. They're just the shittiest. They break so easy and stuff like that. I did go with that. Like I said, I have, you know, just the diff, the actual diff, not the whole IRS, just the diff built, and that is it. A lot of money into this car, with just, you know, a rear end, motor work, body parts. I actually have a guy local that I buy my Terminator parts from, and I'll get to why I'm doing the Terminator look. I'll get to that in a second. I got a guy that lives in Baton Rouge. I get all my Terminator parts from. Let's get to why I have the 0304 Terminator bumper. So, for many of the people that may know, I am doing a eat and swap, a full supercharger swap on my 99 Cobra, the M112 off the 0304 Terminator. You know, I'm doing it on here, so because I didn't want to go turbo. The only reason why I don't want to go turbo is because it's just, to me, there's nothing against turbo. It's just there's a lot of plumbing you have to do and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't want to have to plumb, you know, the oil drain line and, you know, cut into the oil pan. You know, I didn't want to do any of that. Granted, it'd have been probably easier and all the parts would have been cheaper, but I wanted to go supercharger just because of the constant boost, I guess you can call it. I just like that as a personal preference. So let me let's go take a look at the supercharger that I have, all the parts that I have, and things like that for this eat and swap. That way we can get it done, and hopefully bring y'all some content on the 99 to 01 Cobras. They're not, I know a lot of people do a lot of content on the you know, the Mustang GTs, the 2 valves and the Terminators, but I've never really seen any 99 to 01 content. I don't know if it's just because people just don't do it or anything like that. I figured I'd give it a try and try to bring y'all some content for the 99 to 01 Cobra owners, because the way my buddy Aim says it, he's like, if it wasn't for us 99 to 01 owners, the Terminators wouldn't be here. I was like, I mean, yeah, if you think about that, yeah, that is true. But like I said, there's nothing against the Terminators. I definitely would love to own a actual true Terminator. That is a goal in life. So it was a GT500, 13-14 model. Definitely would love to own those. If not, you know, I got my 99 Cobra here for me. I don't have to have nothing big. I'm not super, you know, ecstatic for things, but you know, like I said, I'll get back to the supercharger as soon as I get back home. I gotta go take care of a few things real fast, and then I'm back. Let's get the rundown. Let's kind of get in here and see what we got. All right, got the intercooler pump right there. These are just bolts. Sorry for everything here. This is the trunk. I have the hood right there with the back seat on. There's nothing wrong with it. I just got to put it on. Those are the side skirts that the shop's going to be putting on. I think I'm going to be doing the hood and spoiler on next video, just because it's taking so much time to kind of go everything. This is my center console. I'll be installing that today so I can have something back. That way I have my armrest. I've got my timing set. This is the belt for the whole system. I got the pulley bridge right there. I got the 0304 power steering pump right there in the bag. I've got the timing cover actually power coated. So I'm gonna take this out for you guys. It is really dirty right now, just because I haven't really taken anything out of here in a while. It's actually been a couple weeks, and since I actually touched all this. I got the stock heat exchanger. I got the stock lines. I got the alternator. I do have the EGR stuff. That probably won't be going back in, just because of Louisiana doesn't require it. Not a big deal if they make me do it. At least I have it, you know. I don't just throw it away. I'm just not going to install it unless they need me to, absolutely need me to. So I do have the lines right there for the other part of the heat exchanger, and I've got all my other parts right here for the oil cooler. I got the 80-pound SEMA Decas inside there, the stock coolant reservoir for it. I have the throttle cable. I got some other miscellaneous stuff, alternator brackets, intercooler pump bracket. I got everything basically for this setup, which I didn't think was bad. They are used rods. They are. The guy was on E85 and had a piston actually actually broke. It was bad, and the guy was parting out the motor, and he said he had these rods for sale for $400. He was pushing about, I think he said 705 to the wheel. There was nothing wrong with the rods, nothing at all, and stuff like that. So, like I said, these are the factory rods from the 0304 Terminators. I am going to get these, they came with ARP studs, or bolts, whatever you want to call them. They come with the factory. I am going to get these looked by the shop, make sure all the weight, you know, the balancing on them are completely 100% before I actually build the block. Like I said, those are the rods, and that's kind of everything that I have in here right now. You know, like I said, there's a few things in here that I have and stuff like that. I do have a 0304 block, iron block. I am not going to be using an aluminum block, just because of different reviews. Everybody has different opinions on it. Just me preferably, I wanted to use the Lothair 410mm block. Nothing wrong with my block at all. Nothing wrong with, actually nothing motor-wise is actually wrong with the block. Alright, let's go do this drive. Got the backpack, got the wallet. That's the bike. Let's go. We'll start. Haven't started today. That lady was just like kind of staring at me. She's like, what the hell is on his head? I'm sitting here thinking, just a GoPro, lady. Alright. Windows down. My steering wheel is off. Like I said, that's because when I did the when I put the AGE tube, like I remember here, like I had before before I had the Team Z, the steering shaft wouldn't reach and was rubbing against the long tube headers, and it wore out the steering shaft, so I had to compensate for that. So yeah, that's the only thing that kind of sucks. That's about the only thing wrong with the car, mechanically, I guess you could say. Radio still works. Did all these deletes, stuff are there. The car is equipped with line lock. Different reasons. I'm tuned by locally here, locally around me in Lake Charles. Ryan's Performance is one who's tuned my car. You know, not be, worried. So, and I got some dark ass tint. I got 5/15. So, it ain't that bad.